Hi, hello students. Today we're moving on with lesson 12. We're going to discuss from ratio tables to double number line diagrams. So we've been talking about ratio tables. Today we're introducing the double number line diagrams. So let's go ahead and look at our first example or exercise. I know it says exercise 2. That's kind of how the workbook's set up. We can kind of roll with it. And let's go ahead and look at the problem and see what we need to do. It says, the amount of sugary drinks Americans consume is a leading health concern. For the given brand of cola, a 12-ounce beverage of cola contains about 40 grams of sugar. Complete the ratio table using the given ratio to find equivalent ratios. All right, so we have some information here. The first line, nothing really important. The second line tells us they give us a ratio. For 12 ounces of cola, it takes, let's go and get a pin out. For 12 ounces of cola, it has 40 grams of sugar. That's a ratio. So as you can see, they've kind of set it up for us here. They put the cola in ounces and the grams of sugar. They gave us the first ratio and they put it right in the middle. Well, since they put it in the middle, as we go to the right, these numbers should be increasing. We should be scaling up. As we go to the left, it needs to be scaling down. So the numbers should be getting smaller. So if we kind of look at this or kind of take this information and we scale it down going this direction, we have to simplify this. We can divide by something. Well, what can I divide both 12 and 40 by? I can divide both of them by 2. Okay, now we could divide by some other things, but we're going to divide by 2 here. So I go 12 divided by 2, that gives me 6. 40 divided by 2, that gives me 20. So here is an equivalent ratio. If I kind of cut the cola in half and only had 6 ounces, that would give me 20 grams of sugar. Well, let's say I want to make the beverage bigger. I don't want just 12 ounces. I want to make it bigger. So we're going to scale it up. So to find an equivalent ratio, and we can go ahead and we can kind of do this another way. Well, as you can see, if we look at this, this has been adding 6 each time on top, and this is adding 20 each time on bottom. So if I add 20 on bottom, that's going to give me kind of the next size up. So if I add 20, that would give me 60. Well, since I'm adding, I don't want to add by the same 20. I want to add by what it's changing by. And of course, these are the two different types of ratio changes we've discussed. And so here, I'm not going to add by 20. I'm going to add by how the top is changing. 6 to 12 is an addition of 6. So I'm adding 6 each time. And that would give me 18. So I've kind of done this in two different ways for you, because I want to kind of just clarify. If we're multiplying and dividing, you have to multiply both of these numbers by the same number, or the same constant. When we're adding or subtracting, we have to add and subtract by the consistency on the bottom. If we look on the bottom, 20 plus 20 is 40, 40 plus 20 is 60. It's consistent on the bottom. If we look at the top, 6 plus 6 is 12, 12 plus 6 is 18. It's consistent on top. So that's one of the reasons why I did it both ways, is to kind of make sure we're clarifying multiplication. We multiply and divide by the same number. We're adding and subtracting. We have to keep it consistent on the rows or columns. All right, so go ahead and stop the video. Go ahead and move on to the next one, and we'll discuss how we change this into a double number line. All right, hello students, welcome back. Right now we're going to go over exercise 3. So let's go and look at it as I read it to you. A 1 liter bottle, L of course stands for liter, of cola contains approximately 34 fluid ounces. How many grams of sugar would be in a 1 liter bottle of cola? Explain and show how you arrived at the solution. All right, so as you can see, hopefully this is a kind of a copy of what we did in exercise 2. So if you need to, go and pause the video and go ahead and copy this table down. Don't worry about the double number line at this time. Just go ahead and copy down this table. All right, go and pause the video if needed. All right, so as you can see, this is a copy, once again, of the table from exercise 2. And if you look up here, it's going to underline some important pieces. We need to know, well, we have 34 fluid ounces. And of course, the question is, here's the question, how many grams of sugar would there be in the 1 liter bottle or 34 fluid ounces? So if we look at the top of this, remember the top is fluid ounces. So as you see, we only go to 18. So we have to keep going with this to get the 34. Well, if we remember from before, the top here, we were adding 6 each time. And the bottom here, we were adding 20 each time. So let's go and just continue that pattern and kind of finish filling out the table. All right, so if I add 6, I get 24. Add another 6, I get 30. If I add another 6, I get 36. On the bottom, if I add 20, I'd get 80, 100, and then 120. All right, well, if we look at what's going on here, I'm not sure why my pin stuff disappeared on me. Let's go ahead and write it on the side here. Maybe that might be why. If we look at what's going on here, remember, I need 34 fluid ounces. Well, there's not a 34 up here, but 34, remember, is between these two numbers. 34 is somewhere between these two numbers, 30 and 36. So this is where a double number line really comes in handy. We don't have exactly on the table. So if we kind of follow the table's pattern, we can use a double number line to help us with the answer. So if we keep the top as cola and the bottom as sugar, and we kind of just go through the table. If cola has 6 ounces, it's labeled very similar to the same to the table, this would be 20 grams of sugar. If I keep going, 12 ounces, 40 grams. As you see, I'm marking them. I'm not just writing the numbers. I'm marking them about where they would go. Now this would be 18 ounces and 60. I keep going, 24. And this would be 80. And we got 2 more to go. Let's go ahead and go 30. This is 100. And the last one, over here we have 36. And this, of course, down here is 120. All right, so like I said, we need to have 34. And once again, 34 is not even on our double number line. However, it is between 30 and 36. So what I can do is I can cut my double number line down a little bit more. So if I started counting, I would go 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and of course 36. So 34 would be right here. So what I would have to do is, since I cut this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on top, I would have to do the same on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is 34, this line right here connects with the 34. The question is, what is this number? Well, we know the number has to be between 100 and 120. So it has to be in between. If we look at what's going on here, if we take kind of what we did here, what we did, we kind of cut these down into fractional pieces. If we look here, there's 1 piece here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces all together. So if I take this and start creating a fraction, I have 6 pieces on the bottom. The question is, how many pieces do I have on top? I'd go over 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces on top. So 4/6 of the way between 30 and 36 would give me my grams of sugar. Well, now I have to do some kind of operation. Well, if we remember up here, there's 20 spaces between the 100. There's 20 spaces between the 100 and 120. So if I took the fractional piece and multiplied it by the number of pieces or distance between the two, that would give me kind of the partial part here. And of course, let's go ahead and do the multiplication. If I multiply this across, 4 times 20 is 80. 6 times 1 is 6. And now I go ahead and I can do the division. Remember, 80 over 6 is an improper fraction. So let's go ahead and do the division. 6 on the outside, 80 on the inside. And let's go into division. 6 goes into 8 one time. This gives me 6. Subtract, we get 2. bring down the 0. 6 goes into 20, hopefully 3 times, 13. Sorry, 13 on top, 3 would be 18, I'm sorry, on bottom. And of course, we would get 2. And so to create this as a mixed number, we get 2/6. Well, the answer right here is not 13. Remember, it's not 13 and 2/6. Remember, it has to be between 100 and 20. So what we do is we take the lower number, the 100. Let's go ahead and grab our red pin now. Our 100, and we would simply add it to the answer. We would add it to the answer from the division problem, or from the multiplication, the 13 and 2/6. So remember, when I add this, I'm just simply adding a whole number, the whole numbers together. 100 plus 13 is 113. And then I have the 2/6. The fraction just simply stays the same. All right, so that would be how many grams of sugar. We have 13 and 2/6. Well, this is almost the correct answer. We want to take just one more step further and simplify down the fraction. The question is, what can I divide 2 and 6 by? And of course, we can divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So here would be, just going to get rid of this little pop-up. Here would be our complete answer. We have 113 1/3 grams of sugar. All right, so let's go and put that down as an answer. There would be 113 1/3 grams of sugar and 34 ounces of cola. All right, so we did the work. This is all the work. And remember, this is the answer over here. There would be 113 1/3 grams of sugar and 34 ounces of cola. All right, so there's how you use a double number line to kind of help break down tables a little bit further. And we're going to use that on the next exercise you're doing in class. So go ahead and stop the video and go ahead and move on to the next exercise.